I got interested and fell in love with penguins when I went to the Galapagos Islands. I did my PhD there on Galapagos penguins. I'd never seen penguins in the wild or even a penguin before I ended up in the Galapagos. But how can you not get interested in these little creatures that are really almost pint-sized? And we knew almost nothing about them. And now we know that one of the major problems for Galapagos penguins is this increased frequency of El Niños. Because increasing the frequency of El Niños for Galapagos penguins means that there's no food. And when there's no food, they're not going to be able to survive. And so in the most severe El Niños, we get them not only deserting their eggs or their chicks, but we get adults dying. So changes in frequency of these climate variations can really have profound effects on penguins. And so now we have a lot less Galapagos penguins than we did 30 years ago. I've spent my whole life in one way or another working on the environment because I believe that we really have to have good quality of life. But for humans to have good quality of life, it means we have to be able to share the planet with other organisms. And humans are not doing very well at sharing. There's 6.7 billion of us. We consume more and more all of the time. And we need to be able to balance human needs with the needs of other species on our planet. And that, to me, is what gives us quality of life. So I focused my life really on using penguins as sentinels of ocean conditions and of quality of life. So when things are not going well for penguins, it means eventually they probably are not going to go so well for humans either. Penguins are sentinels because they live fairly high on the food chain, and so they're likely to be one of the first species that comes in conflict with climate variation or climate change. So the warming in the Antarctic, we've already seen the effects that's had on penguins down there. So instead of having snow, which is what normally you think of in Antarctica, you get a lot more snow sometimes, but a lot of rain. And when rain comes, penguins, particularly chicks, get wet. And so they actually end up dying from hypothermia. Everything from climate change to fishing to oil pollution to development along our coasts, all of those can have a really big effect on seabirds, and in particular penguins. Conservation biology is really trying to understand enough about the biology that we might make intelligent use of it to be able to conserve systems. That's the main reason, in part, we started Conservation Magazine, to try to be able to get information out about conservation and thinking about it in often different ways, non-intuitive ways, about how we can do it better. Because we're going to have to get better and better because of the growing numbers of people and consumption if we want to keep any of the rest of the natural life on this globe.